Assalamu alaikum, good evening, welcome to 9 p.m. English News, the headlines for tonight. The Minister of Labor, the no-term region, another branch of NFU open in the region of Obo. International news, Germany political force agreement in Germany. That was the headlines, and now welcome to the national news. On the morning of Wednesday, January 10, 2019, Mr. Hassan Idris, Minister of Labor, in charge of the reform of the administration, went to Obo at the head of a strong delegation to formally open the regional branch of the NFP. It was accompanied by Mr. Hussein Ismail Aden, General Manager of NFP, Mr. Steven Dorsey, Project Manager, a representative of the EDC, Technical and Financial Partner of the agency in charge of implementing issues and integration, and the Minister of Labor. On his arrival, the Minister of Labor and his delegation were warmly welcomed by the Prefect of the region, Obo, Hassan Dabali, and the President of the Regional Council, Obo, Mohammed Ismail. In the presence of the Regional Council, where the Regional Implement Office inaugurated, the representative of the region explained to the Minister and his delegation the process and the conduct of the activities of the antenna, stating that the antenna has a database of readable data containing the number of youths registered for job search. The delegation then went to the conference room of the Regional Council, where the Minister gave a speech for the opening of the training on scales of grassroots and entrepreneurship organized by NFP with his partner ADC USAID. In his intervention, the Minister emphasized the importance of this training and urged participants to follow diligently to take full advantage of it. After Obo, on the morning of Tuesday, January 11, 2018, Mr. Hassan Simir of Labor, in charge of the reform of administration, went to Tijora, also at the head of a strong delegation, to formally open the antenna of NFP. He was accompanied by Mr. Hussein Ismail Aden, General Manager of NFP, Mr. Steven Dorsey, Project Manager, ADP, representative of ADC, Technical and Financial Partner of agency in charge of issues of implement and integration, as well as the Minister of Labor. Upon his arrival, the Minister of Labor and his delegation were warmly welcomed by the Tajura Regional Prefect, Mr. Abdul Malik Mohammed Banoita, and the President of the Tajura Regional Council, Mr. Umar Hussein Umar. On the premise of the Regional Council, where the Office of the Integrating Regional Implement is hosted, the region explained the way the Minister and his delegation process and the progress of activities that antenna claiming and pays reliable data containing the number of young people who registered for research issues. The delegation then went to the conference room of the Regional Council, where the Minister gave a speech for the opening of the training on scales of grassroots and entrepreneurship organized by NFP with his partner ADC. In his intervention, the Minister emphasized the importance of this training and urged the participants to follow it diligently in order to take fully advantage of it. After the short-term region, the Minister of Health continues to tour the country with the medical and surgical caravan in the north-term region from January 11 to 18, 2018. Yesterday, the convoy left the Minister of Health with the 30 medical specialists accompanied by about 40 senior technicians. The leaders were welcomed by the Prefect of the two respective regions, Mr. Abdul Malik Mohammed Banoita for Tajura and Mr. Hassan Dabali for Obo. This caravan is part of the Ministry of Health's proximity health policy aimed at bringing specialized care closer to the population of the region. The specialized doctor will carry out a consultation and then carry out a surgical operation during 10 days in the two Shiva place. The Minister of Health then tells the population to bring their health insurance card or their national identity card and to claim massively for the benefit of its caravan. In parallel with these activities, the National Institute of Public Health of Djibouti will also carry out anti-vector and anti-level control activities in the two Shiva as well as the different sub-prefectures of this region. This morning, the mayor of the city of Djibouti, Mrs. Fatuma Awali Osman, launched in the presence of all the inspectors of the three communal affairs campaign of inspection and application of the decree governing the regulation of well deposit and spill water and wastewater in Djibouti city, deliberated recently by the Council of Djibouti. In this context, the social operation to recover the implementation of the city that is lost daily by these spills and while disposed earlier this morning began in the city center and specifically at the Avenue 3 where several authorities responsible for this degradation of roads were condemned by the payment of fine of 5,000 to the mayor of Djibouti for a time of 48 hours. Remember that the failure to pay this sum within 48 hours could result in a fine of 25,000 and a fixed imprisonment of 50 days of the culprit. In her speech, the first magistrate of the capital called on the people of Djibouti to be very vigilant and conscious of this fine, which is now operational to fight objectively water spills and wild disposal. On the day of Friday, January 12, 2018, at the invitation of the Prefect of Arta, Mr. Abdullahi Darar Okiye, and the Commander of the Coast Guard, Chaine, Colonel Wais Omar Bokore, a delegation of the various ministries composed of the Ministry of Fishery and Agriculture, represented by the Director of the Fishing, Mr. Ahmed Darar, the Minister of Environment and the Habitat, represented by the Director of Environment, Mr. Hussein Rurash, the Ministry of Trade and Tourism, represented the Director of and Formalization and the Director General of the Office of Tourism, have then a mission at sea to fulfill and evaluate the problem concerning the whale shark. All the members of the delegation were able to acquire from the operator of the site of beach of Arta the situation of the white shark, which are threatened today by the bad practice related to the operators. On the occasion of meeting with the operators and in the framework of the exchanging with the operator, and the delegation was able to evaluate the situation of the whale shark for better weapons their strategy to fight against the threats that can run the whale shark. Also noted that the Coast Guard is constantly monitoring this site to protect this highlighting important species not only for the tourist activities of the region but also the international image of the country. The Quranic channel celebrated its 80th anniversary of its creation yesterday. It was created since in 2010 by a presidential decree. The channel divides 24 in 24 hours. The program is usually composed of the broadcast of the sound that listeners can listen to anywhere, or but the Quranic channel broadcasts hadith in the national language of the awareness programs. The 8th anniversary ceremony was held yesterday morning in the meeting room of the RCD with the presence of the General Director of the RCD by Abdulkadir Ahmed Idris, the head of the channel, the Quran channel, Wali, the RCD leader, and the animators and technicians. On this occasion, poems have been presented that popularize the evolution of the Quranic channel. In his intervention, the Director General wished to congratulate the staff of the Quranic channel for the continuous effort since the its creation, and asked them to persevere the diversify the content with the awareness program for the benefit of the people. And he gives have been distributed then to the listeners of the Quranic channel of the artery. Let's have a look at the speech of head of the Quranic channel, Sheikh Wali, who told lightly a bit about the history of the channel of the Quran channel, which began with a single animator in 2010, and now in about 10 people, technicians and animators work in the Quranic channel of the RTD under his responsibility. He thanked the president of the initiated the creation of the Chaine of the Quranic channel, which has many listeners in Djibouti but also in the neighboring country. He also thanked the management for his constant support, which allowed the positive evolution of the Quranic Chaine. Is the only Chaine in East Africa which broadcasts its program of the Holy Quran interspersed with the awareness program and hadith. I want to notice the family Jama Ali Haret looking for their 50 years old daughter Amina Jama Ali was wearing a black prawn rice returning yesterday from the Hodden Tree School. Anyone who sees it here asked to contact the following number 77724115 or 7771817494. This morning, the mayor of the city of Djibouti, Mrs. Fatuma Awal Osman, launched in the presence of all the inspectors of the three advised company inspection and application of the decree governing the regulation of well disposed and spill water in Djibouti city, delivered recently by the council. Implement of the city that's lost daily by these spills and while disposed earlier this morning began in the city center and specifically at the evening tree where several authorities assembled the people of Djibouti to be very vigilant and caution for this fine, which is now operational to fight objectively water spills and will dispose. Let us eradicate together the farmers' world so that our Djibouti Chinese like the others. We regret with the passing of the late Qayyad Ali Dabar, who died yesterday in the Kubito area of Ali Sabi. The late Qayyad Ali Dabar, formerly of the French army, spent his whole career at the Ministry of Agriculture and the Service of Rural Industry, of which he was retired upon in 1928 in Wea in the Arta region. The deceased Qayyad leaves behind a large family including 20 children and 6 small children and great and grandchildren. Well known for his wisdom and generosity, the deceased was a very respected man throughout the Republic and especially in the region of Arta. In this painful circumstance, the Minister of Health Dr. Ilmi Oki, the Energy Minister Yunus Ali Gidi, and the Prefect of Arta Mr. Abdullahi and Ara Okiya, and the President of the Regional Council of Arta Mr. Ilmi Bouh Guda, and send him to their condolences. The most said to the family of the deceased Qayyad Ali Dabar. They pray the God to welcome him to his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. And now moving on to the international news. Force agreement in Germany after 24 hours of talks. A people for coalition has been decided. It was a 24 hours, and at the end the possibility of a deal. German Chancellor Angela Merkel, Christian Democratic Party, has decided on a coalition blueprint with the Social Democrat. Germany's acceptance of a revision has been a key part of the deal. The number allowed to enter the country has been set at the 22,000 per year. Martin Schulz, the leader of the Social Democrats, said the party needed to work together to strengthen Europe. That's it for tonight's news. Thanks for being with us and have a wonderful evening.